Good afternoon. Welcome to Trading the Close on this Tuesday. I'm Toni Valliere with Verified Investing. And here's what's making headlines today. A package to provide aid to Ukraine, Israel, and Taiwan passed a key test vote in the Senate, a sign it has the necessary support for final approval. The legislation also includes a measure to force ByteDance to sell TikTok or face a national ban in the U.S. JetBlue stock plunges as much as 19% after the airline cut its annual revenue forecast. Boeing, by the way, is expected to report its first quarter earnings before the bell on Wednesday. Apple is expected to launch new products, which may include iPads on May 7th in an online event. Spotify stock surges on first quarter earnings that beat expectations. The company's CEO says more price increases are on the horizon as the audio giant is looking to offer a variety of subscription plans, hoping to attract as many users as possible. Tesla, Visa, Enphase, and Texas Instruments are all among the companies reporting earnings today after the market closes. So let's get a check of where things stand right now, just minutes before the closing bell. We're seeing a lot more green today. The Dow is up over 200 points, 0.54%. We're seeing the NASDAQ up over 250 points, 1.62%. We've got the S&P 500 up 53 points, just over a point. And then we've got U.S. oil up as well, over $1. Gold down almost $4. Bitcoin down more than $430 at this hour. Let's bring in Chief Market Strategist Gareth Soloway with a look at the recap of the day's trading. Is everything kind of back up again on earnings reports?
Yeah, so I think it's a little relief, right? Still kind of riding this wave of relief. The semiconductors are having a really good rally today, and that's just lifting everything because we know that on Friday everything got crushed. The semis got crushed. Nvidia was down 10%. So today we opened higher here, and you can see again, generally it trended higher for the first hour of trading. This is the 10-minute chart. And then it kind of just stalled out, and we've just gone sideways to up. A little bit of profit taking maybe right on this last 10-minute candle of the day. As again, you don't know what the earnings are going to be. So again, any traders that kind of bought earlier in the day and wrote it up, they're probably like, take a little bit off the table just to be safe in case Tesla disappoints and Visa disappoints. And I think one thing I wrote earlier on the website, I did an article, and I wrote that Visa's earnings are more important than Tesla's. And people will be like, wow, what are you talking about? Well, again, Visa is a credit card company, so it teaches us or tells us about the consumer. Tesla, everyone knows Tesla's struggling, the EV sector is struggling, so we kind of know that's the case. Yes, it's the flashier company, the one that everyone knows about, Elon Musk and everything, but really if you want to know about the economy, Visa's report today is going to be more important.
It's going to be a big sign. Okay.
So again, just to kind of recap here, we look at Nvidia, second day up in a row. Here was your big breakdown. You could see right here on the chart, we had this key level right through here. We broke down with that big 10% down day. We've almost recovered the entire thing. This is now going to be resistance though. So look at this like 840 level, 835, 840 level. That will be resistance. We'll have to see if it can get above. If it gets above, that's a good sign. But right now I would respect that 840 level as being key resistance. But again, just to talk about why the markets are bouncing the last couple days, Nvidia's bouncing. Like it really, unfortunately, it comes down to that simplicity of that Nvidia's up. The markets love that. It's a risk-on indicator, which means markets will go up generally.
It's got a lot of influence, that's for
right.
sure.
I wanted to show you, I know we talked about GM. You talked about GM.
Yeah.
So this was a level I put in the game plan today, and look at this. Went right up into that level right there. And right there, and that's where it got rejected from. So again, just talking about the simplicity of technical analysis. Like people make technical analysis so complex. There's a million indicators all over the place. I keep it simple, right? It's just like, all right, well, this was your previous high. This is going to be resistance until it's broken, and that's exactly what happened today. And a couple other things, right? So we have Spotify. You brought that one up. So my Spotify level in the game plan today, and these like just nailed it today in the game plan. This was your high pivot right here. In addition, I had a secondary factor right
Don't you
through.
love when that happens?
Yeah, it makes me look so good sometimes,
yes.
right? But basically, then you have this longer term trend line right here, right? And it also coordinates right through there. And it's really at the same level today. This was a trade we did in the live trading room today. We shorted around 313, made a quick like $5-6 on the trade on the short side. So it was a beautiful one right there as well. And then not to be outdone, we got to talk about JetBlue. JetBlue here, I gave this level, 607 was the level I gave this morning as a major gap fill. Look at the gap fill. Look at the gap.
Yeah.
So this, I mean, and you know this. You've done the Winning Trader series. Right there, this would be support, right? It's a gap. This is a big gap. So if price comes back into it, you expect support. Today it opened right there. It pierced, and then it ripped up over 10%. So as a day trade, you could have gotten 10% from that level today in a matter of like 30 minutes from the game plan. And then look at how it's come back down. And where's it settling? Right on that level. So just some cool stuff here.
The beauty of day trading.
It really is.
Quick money,
really is. And
if
just,
you follow
and just
the
looking
rules.
at the levels, I mean, just again, and by the way, sometimes it'll break and it will just blow through the level. That's just the nature of it because it's probabilities. But if you have a 75% chance, it's 3 out of every 4 work out. It's like, man, you can't beat that. It's pretty darn cool.
Quick favor, can you go back to GM real quick? I just have a question for you, and then we'll have to bring up Tesla because it is after the market. Want to look at the earnings. But if this were to come back down, are you expecting it to fill this gap if it were to go down?
So it's hard to know. Gaps eventually are meant to be filled. That's the thought process in trading. But you just don't know, is it going to be in the next couple days, or are we going to consolidate here and then a breakout, and then maybe like 6 months from now eventually come back in? It's hard to know. What you do know, though, is whenever it does fill this gap, this should be some support right there.
Okay.
So that would be at least support. That's the one thing you know, is that that should be support. And even if it breaks there or there, you have another level right down here of very good support. So the other thing you just brought up is earnings, right? So let's start just taking a look here. Whoa.
Hello.
There we go. All over the map here thus far. Looks like initially it's pushing up. Now, again, this is one.
We've seen this before,
look
though.
At this.
And we've seen it back down. So
this is one, by the way, we are long in smart money stocks and ETFs. It's my service at verifiedinvesting.com. And again, the reason is, and I talked about this, and I even said, I did an interview yesterday on Schwab's network, Charles Schwab, and I said, listen, I could be made the fool here, but I'm long because the chart's just telling me. And listen, maybe it still falls in the after hours. We don't really know, right? But the one thing I do know is that if you didn't tell me this had earnings, and I didn't have the worry of like, oh, what if this, then would I be buying this chart? I mean, again, look at this. Oversold into that level. Yeah. That's what the chart. So it's so interesting how the brain can kind of make you question yourself. Like, even I was a little nervous, like holding into earnings. I'm like, oh my gosh, like, I don't know, it's kind of risky. But if you just shut that out and you're just like, just look at the damn chart. Like, ignore everything else. What's the chart saying?
Yeah.
Okay, the chart's saying it should rally. And at least, well, let's go check. Maybe it's in the red by now. We'll see. No, 156, 157. Holy cow. That is a thing of beauty. So, and again, the thought process too behind this is that investors had gotten too bearish. I mean, price cuts, this and that, and it just makes everyone panic. And then ultimately you get these type of moves to the upside. And that's actually an incredible move to the upside.
Well, and the news
right
hasn't been the best either.
That's
lately,
right.
So
that's right. It's all the negativity of the news here is actually where I start to get interested. When you get to the craziness of everyone hating on it, it means that people are too bearish. And then all Elon Musk, and I said this to Ben, the head trader here, I said this, if there's one thing I know about Elon Musk is he has an ego, and that works to my advantage of being long, because he hates when his stock is down, and he hates the short sellers, and he's going to come out guns blazing and probably try to say some positive things. So anyways, right now it's a nice move up. Let's go and check some of these other ones here. Visa in the after hours. This one may not be out yet because it's not. It's kind of still trade. Oh, wait, now we're getting a little bit of a blip, but still, it looks like maybe earnings are just hitting. But so far, there's not a whole lot of action there. But Visa, again, this is the one for me on a macroeconomic basis that I'm going to be paying attention. I want to see their delinquency rates. I want to see what their earnings are, what their guidance is, because that'll tell me more about the consumer's health overall.
And do you feel long-term? Is this a sign of what is more to come?
Whoa, there we go. Looks like a little bit of a pop. So right now, at least the initial reaction is to the upside on Visa. Again, this looks bigger than it is. So far, $275 to $279 is not a huge move. It looks really big, but again, $5 on a $280 stock or so, not the biggest move. But for Visa, that's a nice move. So that tells me right now, at least the headline numbers are a beat. The question is, what's their guidance? And that's where it could sometimes react. Initially, the algorithms look for the key beats. They react before you and I can even click a button. And here we go.
Well, that's what I wanted to ask you too. Specifically, what is this? What is happening here? Is this retail? Is it institution?
So this is even before. I mean, right now retail's probably just getting and punching in their numbers, their levels, and so forth. If they want it, I don't chase this kind of thing, right? If I'm in before the stuff hits because. But the initial thing is, so the computer programs that institutions have. They scan the releases before, like in literally a millisecond, they'll see the numbers and they'll compare it to what was in the computer for beats, and they'll react initially before, like literally in a split millisecond. It's incredible. So I don't have any advantage. I can't compete with that type of speed. What I can do is I can look at the daily chart and I can say, okay, well, if we see a move up, let's say back to this high up here, now that's my advantage. I know this is going to be resistance, so I might look to short it at 291 or so as a trade. That's something that I can do that the algorithms, again, that's not necessarily an advantage that they have. So again, interesting stuff though. Yeah.
What does that tell you? Are you surprised at all to see that?
To see a little bit of a pop, I've got to look at the conference call, and for me, it's like almost all these companies, they figure out a way to beat earnings. It's just because the CEO needs his bonus, they need their $1 million, $10 million, $20 million, $50 million, but it's really in the details about the guidance. Do they lower guidance? Do they what's the delinquency rate? That's something that the investors won't really pay as much attention to, but it'll tell me about the coming potential health of the consumer.
Okay.
So little things like that, definitely interesting, and it's coming back in a little bit right now. Again, this is something that we could see actually reverse back to the downside if the guidance isn't strong enough. Let's look at Enphase. Is not a big company, but it moves like crazy. Holy cow! Speaking of which,
see, I'll save the others. Interesting.
So Enphase closed today around 114. It's at 104. So that's about almost a 10% drop on this. This is a solar inverter stock. So that again, we know that solar is something that's kind of a luxury. Like, not everyone can, and as money becomes tighter, people don't have that money to put solar on their roofs. And so this is obviously seeing a big decline. Let me just look. And by the way, folks, I'll go over all these levels tomorrow where I'll be trading them in the game plan at 9 a.m. So right off the bat, there's a couple levels here that, and again, I got to reevaluate more, but I see a gap fill right here and then right here at 95 below that. So basically 97 to 95 might be a level to watch. If it gets through there, I mean, there's a bunch of levels much, much lower. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. And let's just quickly touch base on Texas Instruments. It's a semiconductor. So this, at least initially, this would be a positive for the semis tomorrow.
Sure.
So again, just something to keep in mind here. I want to just go back to Tesla before we call it a day here.
Yeah, see,
Tesla's still holding up. Now
holding on just fine.
It is, yeah. It's still a very nice gain. It is off of the highs, but nonetheless, that's still a really nice gain on Tesla. So good job, Elon Musk. Somehow he's delivering better than the market anticipated. He's getting the reaction here in the stock.
Made it happen.
Yeah.
Do you want to touch on Bitcoin maybe before we go? Is there not much movement there?
We'll touch on it, but it's like literally, it's kind of the one thing that's barely moving today. If we just jump to this, I have my levels very defined. Support line, resistance line. We're nearing resistance line right up here. But again, very minimal price action. Really, right now in earnings season, people are like focused more on the stocks. Now, anytime this can change, but right now, very minimal price action on Bitcoin today.
All right. Thank you, Gareth. We appreciate it. And again, as he mentioned, you can catch him navigate the charts in real time every weekday morning before the opening bell, starting at 9 a.m. On his show, it's called The Game Plan, and it airs right here on the Verified YouTube channel. Thank you so much for watching Trading the Close on this Taco Tuesday. Go and enjoy some good tacos, and we will see you back here tomorrow. Make it a great rest of the day.